I'm wondering, how did you ever totally get control of these Christian churches who at one time told their congregations to stay away from you Jews? How did that happen?
Well, you know, our father Lucifer, the number one thing of all the organizations out there on the earth that we would want to infiltrate and take over of Ugoyim, obviously would be the churches. So we attacked them first, and we attacked them most. And we infiltrated the Catholic Church right from the very beginning. Why do you think the Pope and all the cardinals and the bishops wear a yarmulke? The white race never figures this out.
His Twitter page, and he has a pinned tweet up that talks about that Jesus on the cross wasn't real and all this stuff. Like, I mean, it was inflammatory, and blames, you know, Jesus's death on the Jews in ways that I think are not very productive.
You Jews are just Christ murderers anyway.
Well, that's true. We did murder him, but he was Jewish too.
Oh, no, he was Almighty Yahweh, God in the flesh body. That's the problem you got.
Well, we tell all the Goyim that they worship a Jew and they believe it, so what's the difference?
He needs to show up consistent. And by that I mean live out his authentic truth in a way that empowers, that has traditionally empowered Black people, but does not take away power from other communities when that power is not rooted in racism, bigotry, or overpowering other communities.
So the kings that we had in our hip pockets, just like the politicians in Washington, D.C. today, we paid them off to get you declared heretics so that they would crucify you and kill you. But
the Jews were taken to Palestine, the land of Palestine. Would you agree or disagree that there's actually more killing, and there's been as much slaughter in Palestine by the Jews slaughtering and killing the Palestinians as there are of the Iraqi people being butchered in the last 12 years?
Well, who counts? But once in a while, you got to thin out the herd. When you own the herd, you got to thin out the herd.
Right now, we need leadership that will heal and unite us, not on falsehoods.
The con game that you have brought on to this country and the world for many years, and it's been a good con. It's been a good con game. Is that you're allegedly God's chosen people?
We are God's chosen people. It's just that most Jews don't like to admit it, but our God is Lucifer.
But in reality, so ground us in the truth about what happened in the slave trade. Ground us in the truth about what's happened historically with Black folks and Jewish folks and why there's dissension and discord.
Then, in this book, which we researched from Jewish scholars, historians, rabbis, over 2,000 footnotes. And when they told me, Farrakhan, that book is a great calumny against the Jewish people. They said, we want you to denounce that book because it's false. I said to Irv Kutzinet, Rabbi Shalman, and a few rabbis, I met in their home. They said, Farrakhan, you must denounce the book. I said, fine. If it's false, I don't want to have nothing to do with it. I said, but everyone that we quoted is a Jewish scholar, a Jewish rabbi, or a Jewish historian. So I'll denounce it, but you have to denounce everyone that we quoted as liars.
Don't feed into that. Even him saying something like, I'm not anti-Semite, I'm anti-termite. That's inflammatory. You know it. Why are you saying that? Just stop.
You've been teaching the people real good, but they don't wake up, do they? You don't get a lot of followers, do they? Because you know why? They're scared of us Jews, because they don't want to be called anti-Semites, and they believe that we're the chosen people, and so that's why we can do whatever we want to do, and we can get away with it.
You are the person who created the Million Man March. Walk in that truth. Walk in that power. That's power. We've not been able to do that since then. So my plea to him would be like, yo, you mean so much to us. Don't trick off your legacy with nonsense, with bullshit, because that's what it is. And it really hurts because I'm like, man, I can't defend the stuff that you're saying on these clips. I can't. I don't care if you tell me it's taken out of context. I have people in my life who I care deeply about who are Jewish and have ancestors who were tremendously impacted by the Holocaust. We're not going to trick that off and say that that's a conspiracy theory. Stop.
You Jews say 6 million were killed in the concentration camps, and yet there's almost 6 million that are still receiving funds from Germany and other funding. And that's 12 million. Now, how does 12 million come out of 3 million?
Listen, again, the numbers. You know, you keep arguing about the numbers. The bottom line is that the Jews are entitled because we've been persecuted for thousands and thousands and thousands of years, and so we're entitled.
You know, like, don't act like Donald Trump, especially when you don't have the power of Donald Trump.
But I'm going to warn you, Mr. Trump. This is not a forsaken people. And the God that we serve has promised us that he would fight our battles.
The thing I say about the minister is, if you listen to him a lot, he's not attacking all Jewish people. Just like he doesn't attack all black people. He
also says a lot of stuff that's like homophobic.
Homosexual agenda was actually created and funded by Jewry, by the Jews of the United States. Well, do you want to discuss on that?
Yeah, we got that going back in the early 1900s.
Like a lot of stuff.
Well, I think a lot of that is old school, just being older, 80-something-year-old black man.
I guess my thing is, being old doesn't mean that you can be, like, dumb and a bigot. He's talking about Hollywood making men women and women men. Like, that's not helpful.
Prove that I hate gay and lesbian and transgender and queer people. Prove it! Not one hair of a Jew's head have been harmed by us. We don't go around beating up people who say they're gay or queer or lesbian. I teach them with love, and they come to me. So why are they so upset?
Joe Biden has said things that I think are downright racist. Period. When it comes to black people, Joe Biden has said things in regard. He wrote the '94 crime bill, but guess what? That don't mean I'm not gonna vote for him. So if I can look at somebody like Joe Biden and say I disagree with what he said here, what he said there, what he said there, but still say, you know what? But I'll vote for him because of all the other things that he may bring to the table that are good for us.
If Joe Biden said the N-word and like refused to apologize for it.
I haven't heard Joe Biden apologize for nothing.
But that partially is not true.
Okay.
He said that he wishes he would have handled the Anita Hill thing differently.
He said that 2 weeks ago when he announced he was running.
That is true. I'm just saying,
unless we do something about that cadre of young people, tens of thousands of them, born out of wedlock, without parents, without supervision, without any structure, without any conscience developing, because they literally, I yield myself 3 more minutes, because they literally have not been socialized. They literally have not had an opportunity. We should focus on them now, not out of a liberal instinct for love, brother, and humanity, although I think that's a good instinct, but for simple pragmatic reasons. If we don't, they will, or a portion of them will, become the predators 15 years from now. And Madam President, we have predators on our streets that society has, in fact, in part because of its neglect, created. Again, it does not mean because we created them that we somehow forgive them or do not take them out of society to protect my family and yours from them. They are beyond the pale, many of those people. Beyond the pale. And it's a sad commentary on society. We have no choice but to take them out of society.
It's like we know we have to be twice as good, work 3 times as hard, and probably apologize 5 times as much. I want him to meet that standard.
I'm saying to you, I'm not apologizing, and I'm not bending my knees and bowing my head, scratching where I don't itch, shuffling and going on. I stand up like a man.